Okay, what I'm working on is a 2001 Suzuki Vitara with the V6. The belt broke. The alternator had been squealing for several days. Actually, we've only had this car for a couple weeks, and it's gotten worse and worse. And it was finally snapped in half and shredded. And so I went to go get the alternator to replace it. Found it very difficult on this car because of one bolt, primarily the bottom torque screw. So here's how I went about doing it. I've already done it. I did it yesterday. It took me about half a day to get this done, actually. First thing you want to do is disconnect your battery. Take out the air box. I disconnected it today to show a little more room. Take out these 3 screws here. Get this air box out of the way completely. Other things you want to take off are these 2 screws that hold these lines in place just to give you a little more room. Pull the wiring harness loose. It just pops out. Also took out this little bracket nut here. Took that loose. Once I got that all off, I found what screws I could get to. I loosened this one. I loosened all of them to begin with. Loosened this one right here, which adjusts the alternator. There's 2 back here. There's one, kind of hard to see them. One back here, and there's one, I think, right down here below it. This one has a little wire wrapped around it, holds this wiring harness in place from getting touching the belt. Otherwise, it could rub and cut your wires. Loosen that one, and then there's one underneath this bracket, back under here. Loosen that one as well. Then you can climb under the car, and you'll find a ground cable attached to the alternator bracket, and one more holds the bracket in place. Back underneath here, you have to find it. Difficult to get to, not much room. Had to use a 2-inch extension or so. Slowly work it out. Got that one loosened. Once I got them all loosened, my belt was already off. If your belt you're going to replace, you can just cut the belt off to make your life easier. It gives you a little more room to work if you're going to replace the belt, which if you're going to do all this, you might as well replace it. So you just take the belt off, get rid of it. And then once I got them all loosened, I went in and took out this bolt, took out the top bracket, took out that bolt, that bolt, that bolt. Remove this bracket, and then I disconnected the alternator wires. This one here, there's also another clip. Once you get this bracket out of here and the wire pulled back, it gives you a little more room to pull that back bracket off. It is not much room to work to pull that clip out, so you have to just wiggle it and slowly get it out. And try not to break it, of course, because that's a whole nother problem. Once you do that, you got this bracket out, the bottom loose is screwed. Go ahead and take out the bottom bracket, the bottom nuts, take those out. Then get something to pry in here and pull this alternator all the way back as far as you can till it almost is touching back in here. You want to get as much room as possible. Then you'll find 2 more nuts. Once you get that alternator pulled back, you're going to find 2 more holding the bracket on. Get those loosened. They're not easy. I used a boxed-in wrench to get to them. Just have to make sure you're nice and square on there and pop. Once you break them loose, then it's just a matter of slowly working them out until you can pull the bracket with the alternator and move it back and forth. It took me about 10 or 15 minutes to get a quarter turn at a time. Once you get those out, your alternator, and you got all the wiring harness, make sure you get them off, that bracket should come right out. That then gave me access to get to that torque bolt, which I had to use a torch and a pair of vice grips and heat the bracket up to break it loose. So then once you do that, you got that torque out, which is, if you don't have a torch, it's a difficult job. But what you're pulling out of there is this bolt right here. This is a torque. If you can see that right there, you can look at it. It's stripped out, and it's stripped. It was actually stripped before I got to it. Poor design. But I went to the hardware store, and these are 10 by 125 metric. I bought a couple of them. This is a longer one. I bought 2 different sizes to see which one I liked, and I think they were like $4 each. This is what I replaced it with. It's a 17 mil, I think. So I put that in there. So when you go to put it back together, it's a lot easier. You go ahead and put the bottom bracket back in first. Get it all put back in place. Then you can slide your alternator back down inside there. Put the bottom bolt in, the one you're replacing, the torque bolt. Put the new bolt in there. Snug it all the way down. so it moves. It's still a smooth alternator. And then you put the top bracket back in. Those 4, 1, 2, 3 bolts. Now, if you haven't put the new belt on, you have to take the other belt off in order to get this new belt on. And you just basically kind of slide it over top the the cooling fan and get it back in there, and it goes over the top the alternator, the fan, and the bottom crankshaft pulley. Get it all lined up, push the alternator forward, slide it back over there, and then give your tension. Adjust your tension, make sure all your bolts are tight, your ground is connected back on the bottom, and get the clip back in. You have to wiggle back and forth to get that clip in, because there is not much room for that back clip. You have to kind of play around if you put it on. You get that clip on before you put that belt on, because you need to move it around a little bit to get it where you want it. So once you get all that clicked back on, put it all back together. And on this car here, you have to have the air box reconnected to get it to start. It'll start, but it'll die. I think the sensors don't work. So if you do start it and it dies right away, it's just because your air box is not connected. So get that back on there. And make sure everything's nice and tight. Run it for a little while, drive it a little bit, then park it and check your tension again. Make sure it's still good. I won't get into taking the other belt off. It's not too complicated. Just have to loosen it up. But to give you an idea what you got to do, over here is the other belt you got to get off, and down inside there, you can maybe see there's 2 nuts right down there. You got to loosen both of those to loosen the tensioner. That allows you to take that belt off to slip the other belt underneath there. So like I said, it took me about 4 hours to get this all apart. And now with that new bolt on there, hopefully I don't have to replace it again. It will be a lot simpler job the next time around if it ever happens again. But I hope that helps somebody.